I try to let my gear air out before I put it in the bag, so it doesn't smell like complete ass.
It's pretty wild, Meat Boy. The UFC 292 belt is finally on the line, and we finally get to see the pivotal matchup that essentially the UFC machine has been attempting to build since day one. I mean, it doesn't seem like it was a long time ago when Sugar Shane O'Malley, according to Snoop Dogg, was lighting up the scene on Dana White Contender Series, and you could tell that the machine was definitely going to be breeding this path for Sugar Sean, but along the way, he would also have to answer the bell and beat some tough guys, because while Sean O'Malley has beat a lot of bad fighters, right? If you look at their collective record, if you look and see who is still in the UFC, it's not great upon inspection. But Peter Yan most recently in a fight where Peter Yan was ranked #1, and in a fight where, although some people, I think, unfairly called it a robbery for Sugar Sean, he held his own. He easily won round 3, and if that was the closest round of the 3, then it's not crazy that Sugar Sean emerged with the victory in that one. So while his early resume, yes, easy light work finishes, was all up against bums, Peter Yan was not a bum, and you got to give Sugar Sean credit for that one. And if he's earning his shot, and he's going to take out arguably the GOAT in Aljamain Sterling, he's going to have to take out a guy on a double-digit fight win streak. The last time he lost was a YOLO flying knee to Marlon Moraes, who hasn't won a fight in about 50 contests. And ever since then, it's been easy light work, defending his belt, taking out Triple C most recently. And in that Triple C fight, it was a split decision. But in that fight, he outstruck Henry Cejudo by double-digit strikes in every single round except that 5th round where Henry slightly edged him. So narrative surrounding that one and that, oh, it was a very close fight, split decision, maybe Henry won. The strike count suggested otherwise, and that was dominant. TJ Dillashaw, Peter Yan the second time when they fought. He's a guy who gets you down, and, I mean, Sandhagen saw himself get his head squeezed off. Doesn't let you back up. So I think the great question in this fight is, does O'Malley have the grappling? Will he have the takedown defense necessary to stop Aljo? And if so, is Aljo going to be a fish out of water on the feet? Or do you see this, just like Aljo's been doing to most of his guys, just like he does every single day in practice with Merab Dvalishvili, making this a grind-em-out grappling affair that Sugar Sean is simply going to drown by? Who are you taking in this meat event?
Yeah, no, this is an insane fight. I'm very excited for it. This is a fight that, if Sean wins, all the haters can never basically hate again, because Sean will just shut everyone up. Because everyone keeps saying he hasn't fought anyone good, blah, blah, blah. Beat Peter Yan, and if he beats Aljo, that's insane. And Aljo ragdolled Peter Yan last time, so it'll be kind of disputed that Sean O'Malley is 135 king. But, man, I just don't know, because he seems so brittle sometimes, and Sterling, he just pretzels people, like Corey Sandhagen, that's what I worry that similar thing might happen, first 30 seconds ragdolled. But then also on the other side, O'Malley could stiff him in the first 5 seconds. He's so quick and precise. I don't know. It's really whoever's faster. If Sean is fast enough to keep away and never let him touch him, because Aljo's just going to run into him, head down, and just try to grab him. Just push him against the cage and grab him. I think Sean might be that guy where he can actually avoid that and just tee off while he's running backwards. I think I'm going to take Sean in this because the odds are juicy. I have a lot of Sean O'Malley cards, so I would love for those to go up. And I like his youth. I like the size. I like his style. And he's been doing nothing but grappling for the last 6 months. He's getting ready for this. So I'm very excited for it. This is going to be a crazy fight, but I'm picking Sugar by KO.
Yeah, good stuff. And if he's able to finish Aljo, then to your point, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to attach any hate to Sugar Sean O'Malley, as much as you would love to hate on the guy. One thing, though, that I think is sort of a misconception about O'Malley is that he's always the bigger, taller, longer guy in his fights, right? And in this one, he's 5'11", pushing 6 foot. Aljo's 5'7", but their reach is nearly identical. Sean only has a 1-inch reach advantage over Aljo, so I think that maybe, I mean, it could be being a little overblown, and perhaps Aljo is a little bit, I don't know, he's able to use his only 1-inch disadvantage to his credit, perhaps, and he's able to get it down to the mat easily. So I think that, I mean, it's, you bring up the point about O'Malley and his grappling. I mean, he works with Tanquino Mendez. Obviously, that's all he's been drilling, like you said, for the last year, probably plus. But you just wonder if he's able to, if he's already too far behind to an absolute killer wrestler in Aljo, a guy who just out wrestled the gold medalist in Triple C. And if we remember, although Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley was an O'Malley victory, Peter Yan took Sean down maybe 5 or 6 times. And while, yes, Sean was able to get back up, Peter Yan isn't necessarily known for his grappling. So if Peter can get you down, I like Aljo's chances to get you down as well. And I think that Aljo will be that much better at keeping him there. And I see this going down similar to what the Sandhagen fight looked like, where Aljo's just on a different level. He's going to make this look easy. He's probably going to get a finish on the ground in the 3rd, 4th, perhaps even 5th round. I mean, maybe this fight is kind of back and forth early, and Sean has his moments, but I'm buying the hype. I think Sterling is that good, and he's going to ultimately get the finish over O'Malley, dip to 45 and fight OGM, and then Merab's time to take over bantamweight is in store. But if O'Malley gets this one done, then I actually have interest in a fight between Merab and Sean, and you probably should too, because if he sleeps Sterling, then, I mean, he could probably beat everyone, eh?
Yeah, 100%. If he beats Sterling, he can beat anyone in this division. You know, you're right, Sean's performance versus Peter Yan, it did not look too sharp on the grappling side, but he did get up, so that was a plus, but he did get taken down almost at will versus Peter, at least in the first few rounds, till Peter kind of got tired. But Sean still had a good gas tank, even at the end. But the biggest thing, though, is Sean said, now this is where we're taking it at face value, or he's full of it, Sean said in an interview recently that he didn't do one session of grappling for the whole training camp versus Peter Yan, because he never would have thought that he was ever going to shoot. He thought he was a striker and it was going to be a brawl. But then Peter Yan felt a few hits and he turned into a grappler real quick. So I think he's being a lot more prepared. I'm hoping. I'm taking his word for it. We'll see. But we're going to find out. Has he been grinding, or has he been slouching with the Nelk boys?
Yeah, it's a great point, right? Because if he wasn't even anticipating that against Peter Yan, then of course Peter might, you know, last ditch make use of that for sure. But I mean, you got to imagine he's planning for a grappling heavy attack from Aljo. We know what Aljo's trying to bring, so it should be a fun one, Meat Boy. I'm very interested also just from the pay-per-view side. I want to see how many pay-per-views this sells. Is it going to absolutely bomb? I mean, there's maybe it's a little bit hyperbole, but it seems like they're placing Sean on this almost Conor-like level, and I got a feeling that this pay-per-view might absolutely bomb, because this card is low-key sort of decimated with all the late changes, and they got a big burden on the backs of Aljo and Sean O'Malley. So curious to see what kind of numbers it delivers. Curious to see what the Boston crowd looks like. Are they going to be pro O'Malley, the Irishman, the Arizona Irishman from Montana? I mean, you wonder if the Bostonians will be repping them, but should be interesting for sure. 71% though going with Sterling. Majority copper for that sub. Only 29% of the O'Malley backers are going with him, and a lot of it is Brown for the KO. Do you see a world where O'Malley can win a decision, or is it KO or bust?
You know, I think honestly, I think it's KO or bust, to be honest. I just don't see him winning a decision. The longer it goes, I mean, Aljo's cast tank, he's the CEO of EPO, you know. I don't think Sugar's going to be able to keep up with that. He barely kept up with Peter Yan.
It's very true, right? I mean, it's very not true. It just seems like the gas tank of these dudes is next level, and CEO of EPO, Aljo, Merab, Osterine for O'Malley. It's a cocktail that you are not going to want to miss in this one for sure. I'm going to go Aljo by finish. You got O'Malley. Any last thoughts?
Do you think anybody pops for any illegal substance after the fight?